my friends, welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Mafia Sports Report. I always am Dr. Love, and of course we have, oh, he's in the flesh. We got Sauce Bronson in the flesh.
Listen, I'm the light-skinned man with the ashy hands. I'm only here because Doc got the plan.
There we go. But yeah, he's not a different box today. It's like we've now merged.
Yeah, try something a little different.
Yeah. So we're here for it, but we're here for, obviously wrestling in general. But with, as you can tell by the thumbnail, it was going to be a little bit different today. And, I kind of came up with this on the fly because there's a lot of stuff going on the rest of this month. And I thought, let's just have a little chat about our buddy, our returning Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Phil.
And so obviously with the new show, AEW Collision, on, I believe, June 17th or 16th, the Saturday.
One of those Junes.
Saturday, marks the return of CM Punk officially. When they said it was in Chicago and then they made us wait another week, I'm like, gee, I wonder who's going to be there. So obviously, CM Punk's coming back to AEW. And I thought we'd have a nice just chat about him in general with his, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and stuff about him. And obviously, I don't have the best opinion about him, but it was never about his wrestling. It was never about that kind of stuff. So, and that's what we're going to talk about. And if you guys have opinions, we want to hear them. So that's cool too. But basically, we'll just start off. We're going to start off here at the end, and then briefly, because it was the newest thing that happened with him.
So we're going to Tarantino it.
I know, right? So it looks like we do have one chat already.
Hey,
we got, it's a CBM. We got, thanks, guys. Thank you. And again, I thought people would like this. I had the idea for the name. He came up with the thumbnail for Mr. Brooks. Mr. Chick Magnet Punk.
Hey.
Chick Magnet Punk. Let's go.
So the idea of the thumbnail is, I guess it was a movie called Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Brooks with Kevin Costner. Yeah.
Okay, so he is. If I sound a little weird, it's because I just came back from vacation and I had 2 teeth pulled. I had a wisdom tooth and a molar. So if I sound like 50 Cent, you know why.
Well, wait, you're saying you did not go see Isaac Yankem DDS when you were on vacation?
I would have preferred Isaac. I would have preferred Isaac.
And then we have CBM as well. Mr. Michelle Beadle. Oops. Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, that's going to be it. We're going to have a good one. This is going to be a good shit talk.
Yeah. So I got about maybe a couple more days so I can try to eat regular food. I can't mess with alcohol at least for another week and a half. So my stitches, the stitches, they already came out. So
yeah,
as far as that goes, I guess they did their time. So we'll see how it goes from here.
Yep, and you know what? It's just I've been there, had the teeth pulled. It's not a fun time. So, but yeah, he'll just keep 50 Cent talking. I didn't even pick up that you definitely do. That's kind of funny, but. So we're going to talk about, obviously, the last thing that happened, which was one of our highest rated episodes, with the Brawl Out situation after All Out last year, where CM Punk won the AEW Championship. And then rewatching the media scrum afterwards, it's still just mind-boggling to me because of how Tony Khan is just a child. He literally looks like a child.
Just sits there
he sits there and just. And then
just looking up at Phil.
He just looks up like, is it okay? Can I talk now? And then even then, when he was like, when CM Punk was saying something about whatever, and then he would like apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry about that happened. I'm sorry. Like, you are the owner of the company. What are you saying sorry to him for? This issue, and he's sitting there trashing your EVPs. I mean, yeah, look, behind the fact I'm not a fan of all that, but he's trashing your other wrestlers in your company.
Literally in front of your face.
In front of your face, and while he's stuffing donuts in his face.
Yep.
So I'm not saying a lot of things he said were wrong. It's just he always does this. He's done this before for the original media scrum when he came in at Rampage. He was very, and TK looked like a cult member. Like he stared at the screen, kind of like one blink, save me. Two blinks.
With those Adderall eyes.
He does. Yeah, it's like Detroit Tigers logo eyes. It's like, hey, what's going on, guys? You okay? But so the Brawl out situation, he goes off basically on pretty much mostly the Colt Cabana thing. Like he's talking about a situation that happened 10 years ago, 10 years prior, and he's just trying to like get stuff out in the open. And then that's when he brings up the fact about Adam Page, which I've mentioned before. Adam Page, I've never really liked him. Never liked Adam Page. But it's like, I don't know. He irritates me. You have a lackey from the Bullet Club. Now you're going to be your top guy. And my problem was this, and this came up in interviews where he was talking about how, you got this guy who says in interviews, oh, I don't need advice. I don't need advice from anybody. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take it from anybody. I mean, they can say it, but I'm not going to take any advice. And it's like, really? You're not going to take advice from people that are clearly in the business a lot longer than you?
And better than you.
And much better than you. It's just, so him, mouthing off to him during their little promo, during their little fight that they had, it was insane. And then, of course, the EVPs. But during that scrum, he absolutely called them all out. Said, hey, if you got something to say to me, say it to my face. So, I mean, at that point, you're basically saying there's a brawl going to happen, something.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we get the brawl. Now, my big problem I have with the whole thing is if CM Punk was truthful and from the beginning about what happened, then he wouldn't look like an asshole. But he tried lying, saying that they like broke down the door and they were attacking him first and all this other stuff. And it came back later that the lawyers wouldn't even back him on that because it didn't happen that way. Yeah, there was a big scrum there, but they weren't breaking down the door to come after him. It was a fight. It was a scrum. Someone got bit. I think Omega got bit or something.
Got bit by Ace.
That guy, Ace. Oh, yeah, Ace Steel. I'm sorry. They didn't want him back. And then CM Punk.
Back.
Yeah. No, he's not back.
I thought he was. No, I thought he signed him back. I thought he came back last week, or they signed him back last week.
Oh, okay. If that just happened.
Yeah, it was like a week ago.
Okay. Because that's his best buddy. So he's like, I got to have him. I bet that was a thing. I bet they said if he doesn't come back.
Oh yeah, because they're gonna Tony gonna kiss Phil's ass.
Oh my gosh.
From now until when that contract is up.
Right.
But once again, I keep telling people, I cannot wait about 10 years from now when we get the Dark Side of the Ring episode of this. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be he say, she say, she say, he say. It's gonna be great.
And it's just, after all that happened, and in the wrestling world, when something big like that happened, because we didn't have much information, right? It was like you get a little bit of information from one person, then another person, and I remember when there was somebody else being talked to on the scrum, and you could see in the backside that people were running. Like it was you caught on camera, you could see them like running,
like it was on the side.
Yep, and they were running for the fight that was happening, but. Then after that, obviously, CM Punk gets stripped of the title. The Young Bucks and Elite get stripped of the titles. And then they wait, 3 weeks just to make Moxley champion?
Yep.
And mind you, Moxley at that point wanted to not be champion. He wanted to take a break.
Yep.
He wanted to take a break because the idea was they already had it set up perfectly with MJF, right? The MJF they were gonna fight. And at full gear, it was going to be MJF and Punk, and it would have been a great next match. They already had that dog collar match, which was pretty good. That was a pretty good match, and everything got screwed up again. And I think he got hurt too again. Remember, CM Punk
was in a foot.
Yep, he got hurt. Well, that was also his fault too, because he jumped in the crowd, hurt his foot, and then hurt it more in the match right after he won the belt for the first time. Like, talk about ridiculous, right? Talk about, oh my gosh. But, yeah, so obviously, that put a huge stink on everything, mainly because of how CM Punk has always been, his attitude in the wrestling business. And then coming to AEW, there was all these, reports about how, he doesn't really care about our well-being and stuff like he said before. In WWE, it was a big deal. Hell, there was a court case about it. There was a court case about it with the doctors and how they were making him work because he was with his injuries and all this stuff. And but they were calling him out saying that he wasn't acting that way. He was acting just like he calls out a promo against The Rock and other people taking spots from the smaller guys. But what did he do in AEW? He kind of did the same thing.
The same thing. Like, how many, like AEW, has he put anybody over that wasn't already a top name?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I mean,
I think the only time I've seen him get pinned was what, Mox?
Yeah, and that quick squash match.
Yeah.
That squash match that happened on Dynamite.
Yeah, on Dynamite, he did that kick, he fell down, and then
a week later they announced that he was going to fight him at the pay-per-view that Sunday.
Which didn't make no sense.
No, that again, we're talking about weird TK AEW booking there.
That was 2013 WWE booking.
That was. So that whole random time that he was going after the belt. Now, I will say one thing. During the AEW with CM Punk, the promos have been pretty hot. They've been pretty good promos. Like,
especially like my favorite was, I think when Phil got there, my favorite feud with as far as with Punk was probably him and Eddie Kingston.
Oh yeah, I just rewatched all their stuff too. Oh yeah,
promo that they had in that ring. Like, obviously these two don't care for each other in real life, but as a person who doesn't really know, is like a casual wrestling fan, they might not know that, so they look at it like they're the impression like, wow, these two dudes really don't like each other and they really want to fight. Yeah, I'm gonna pay $40 to see that.
Oh yeah, I mean that promo. Oh, I loved it. Oh my gosh, I was again just rewatching.
He said, "When I beat," what did he say? I'm just paraphrasing y'all, but he said, "When I beat you," he was like, "Yeah, run away for another 7 years, but this time don't come back."
No, and nobody wants you here. Nobody wants you. It's great.
Oh my god, I did the great CM Punk.
Yep, the great CM Punk. And yeah, it was a great promo, and the Mad King's always got a soft spot in my heart. I always like the Mad King. So the promos in every one of his feuds, CM Punk had been pretty good.
Yeah.
MJF, of course, Adam Page, because it's been very, very real, a very real promo, and then Moxley to a point, But you're right, he's never once tried to put anybody over. Like, he's come back now. He's coming back now. It'll be on Collision, right?
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to be like, well, he's got to go for that title shot now against MJF. They're going to try to push that. But I wouldn't, though. I wouldn't do that right away because that's the obvious choice. Like, I know it's hard because right now you don't really have a front runner going after the championship. But if you just immediately do that, people are going to be like, whoa, he's got to give him the title. I'm like, I wouldn't.
Oh, hell no.
They already proved they could have a great match. They had the dog collar match, I thought worked real well. Yeah. And they probably would have had a great title match where MJF would have got over sneakily, but he would have beat him.
Yeah, he definitely got a dirty win.
And it would have been great. So now, we had just had Double or Nothing. So now we have to wait till, the next big pay-per-view would be the All-In show, I believe, at Wembley, right?
Right. That's July, I think?
August.
August, yeah.
Second week of August, I believe. Right after SummerSlam, I'm pretty sure it is.
Right, like the week after that day.
So right there could be an idea for them to definitely utilize CM Punk in that way. If you're looking for, that kind of bump from him.
Oh, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Sidetrack. This is what he's talking about, how TK looks in the media scrum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How TK looks at all times in that podium.
The Detroit Tigers.
Except he's all the way down here while the other wrestlers are up here below him.
Yep. The cocaine tiger. That's what I'm going to say. But, so it's just, CM Punk coming back, what would you put him in type of feud? Honestly, if you guys got anything, where is he going to go?
Yeah, let us know, because I've been thinking about it, and to be honest, so he shows up. Well, so he's going to show up on Collision. He's going to cut a promo, but he probably won't wrestle for at least 2 weeks after that.
Right.
So he might not wrestle until pay-per-view. So my question, Doc, is Collision a 1 hour or 2 hour show?
That's a good question.
Because I know it starts at 8.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 2 hours, maybe, or is it just an hour? That's actually a good question. It's like we got our fact finders. We got this. But from what I was gathering is this show takes over. Oh, there we go.
Oh, so just to give y'all guys a heads up, So All In is August 27th.
Yes.
And then, well, you got All Out, but they just said like September. They don't really.
And we do have Forbidden Door, but that's again, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
I don't see like Phil. So when it comes to Forbidden Door, I mean, I can see Phil. He might come out, make an appearance, but like, I don't see him wrestling.
No, because they were talking about like a week out from that.
Yeah.
So I agree. I don't see him. I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me for him to wrestle at that show. But yeah, we'll be talking about that a little later. But as for anybody else, I don't know. I really don't know because like there isn't anybody else really to have him face, and especially if you're going to have him the face of Collision, because now it's going to be Dynamite and Collision as opposed to like Rampage will be. Is they're shifting that to more of a heat type show from what I'm gathering.
Once again, all they had to do was make Rampage 2. All they had to do was make Rampage 2 hours. That's all they would have had to do.
Yep.
And then you only had this stupid Collision show.
Exactly.
And then shout out to Papa Mafia.
Yeah.
I sound like Stone Cold when I said, yeah.
You do.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
There we go. I like it. Always good. Always good hearing your yes. And again, if you you're right back. So you're right.
So real quick, little off topic. So I was talking to Papa Mafia. I tagged them. So you know the McFarlane figures.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there's another company that does it now with Buffalo Bills. So I tagged them in it. So I told them, I was like, yeah, you need to have this. You need to figure out how to order. You need these little figures on for your little show.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's football talk.
Hey, still, he'd love them though. Yeah. Papa Mafia would love those.
But my thing is, like, you should just make Rampage 2 hours, especially if this is about to be a 2-hour show on a Saturday.
I know.
Yeah, whatever. But as far as then from the Papa Mafia, Damian Priest is so bad. I'm like. Yeah, I mean, me personally, like, I never really saw his work as Punishment Martinez. So, I mean, to me, he just has the personality of white bread. Ever since his NXT, I think the only thing is when his NXT, I mean, the crowd just loved him, so he didn't really have to do much as far as his mic work.
Yeah.
Just play the good guy role, kind of like the edgy good guy type of ordeal. But, I mean, since Judgment Day, he's pretty much just like he's basically just the muscle.
Exactly. And as Papa Mafia kind of said too, he'll never get a real push with those mic skills. And, it's wrestling. You got to have mic skills. You have to. Well, he's gotten better.
Or as Hogan would say, it's wrestling in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So as hard as the mic work. Like AEW, I can see somebody I can actually see AEW, somebody who's terrible on the mic, becoming like AEW champion, but they'll probably have a manager as a mouthpiece to back them up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then we do have we got Andre Douglas on here.
Hey, Sports Academy.
Hey, what's
those
up?
Good fellows over there on Thursdays.
So he's saying Bleacher Report says his first feud is probably Samoa Joe.
Oh, Samoa Joe beat the Burks off of him.
Now I'll take that right there with the side of the chili fries, okay? Because these guys right here. They tore the house down in Ring of Honor back in the day.
Yeah.
They literally did. These guys right here, let me put it this way, they had 2 60-minute timed out matches in Ring of Honor.
Right.
Raw, timeout. And one of them got 5 stars from Meltzer. And again, we're not just like, oh, it's all about Meltzer, but it's still a pretty big deal in the wrestling world. So, and in Ring of Honor, nonetheless, for that.
Well, that's because they also won in WWE, so that's why they got 5 stars. So,
But... So, yeah, that's actually a good point. So, Samoa Joe, I like that. I like the...
I wouldn't mind it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know I'm a little bit behind on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, because Joe... Is he...
Still television champion?
Okay,
no, I thought he lost it. He lost it to the one guy at the show we watched, the Japanese guy.
Oh, Shibata?
Shibata.
Yeah, Shibata.
Yeah,
okay.
he beat Shibata. Now, wouldn't that be something? You have CM Punk on Collision. Do you bring him out? You're randomly on Ring of Honor because he was, you're talking about a guy that worked most of his good stuff in Ring of Honor.
You might as well. So here's the thing about Phil. Like when his face shows up, he does bring ratings. And especially if I'm Tony Khan, I'm telling him like, listen, you work for AEW, but you also gonna be doing work in Ring of Honor as well. Like you may not have to wrestle in Ring of Honor, but you at least be done and make your face known.
Oh yeah. For sure. And, it's I would be excited for Samoa Joe because I could see it too. Like CM Punk comes out, He's talking, and then Joe comes out and just like destroys him in the mic, right? He just, and look who's back, huh? And you think you just walk back in here and no consequences, and then I can see that.
Punk be like, yes,
yeah,
I do.
I know he does.
I'll come back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Hey, respect your elders.
Yeah.
Hey, who wants a free ice cream? Free.
I did a pop bomb like 12 years ago. Don't forget that, Joe.
Oh yeah. Oh, don't worry. We're going to talk about that too. But guess what? That's not my main part of this. Everyone else makes it a big part of your. Anytime we talk about Philly, but it's like no. That's why it's more so about everything else about him.
Right.
But it looks like we do have. We got CBM back on here. But neither Kurt Angle nor Eddie ever received a 5-star rating from Meltzer. Will Ospreay has 25 5-star ratings. Who is the fanboy again?
Listen, Meltzer, listen. In my eyes, he always been booty cheeks, okay? Listen, you don't give the GOAT Kurt Angle at least a 5-star. Come on, man.
Well, it kills me because I'll tell you right now, I can name 3 right off the top of my head. Iron Man match, SmackDown with Brock Lesnar, 5-star, not a question. The match he had with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
5-star. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, don't have to look at his WWE stuff. You could just go back to his Impact. Almost every match he had with AJ,
Joe, or even Joe. Yeah.
Like the first match he had with Joe.
Yeah.
For the belt, could have been 5 stars. But listen, Meltzer, he loves. Listen, he loves his Japanese, so I wouldn't be surprised if you watch anime in that junky ass office he got.
I know, right? And why is this podcast we're kind of like low budget here, but we do have a very nice camera, nice computer system here, of course, nice setup. But why does Meltzer look like he's in a fucking closet or something when you're seeing his podcast, right? He's like, hey, so just I don't know what happened, but this. I don't really like the guy. I don't know. What's up with that? It's so weird. Looks like he's kidnapped or something. He's like trying to ask for help. But anyways, kind of off topic, but you know what? That's fine. It's usually how wrestling works. But with that all being said, CM Punk coming back, Collision, first feud, Samoa Joe, I'd buy that for $1. I would, because save the thing for MJF for a little bit, for sure. And just set up some other feuds. You know what? Let them go after Kenny Omega. Why not? Let that be another feud, because you guys are professionals. So I feel like
that's it. But that's if Kenny don't want to do it, because there's been rumored that they really don't want to be bother with them.
Yeah,
but I think it's stupid because, as Jim Cornette says, we're here to make money.
Yep.
And just Punk. Considering what's going on, Punk versus Omega, that's money.
Yep.
Put y'all little pride aside, Kenny. Put y'all little feelings aside, Phil, and go ahead and make this money.
I know. It's like the 2 kids in the principal's office, and they're like, okay, you guys have to play nice. It's like, what, mediation is what they call them, your boy. That's like, no. No. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to stop biting him. Don't bite him.
Yep, exactly.
That's what it sounded like. If you had said what the brawl was, out of context that it was wrestling, someone would have told me, I'd be like, oh, so like kids got in a fight on the playground or like recess and whatever. And no, those are professional wrestlers in a fight in a professional wrestling company.
Yeah.
But we do have another chat from Andre. Seth and Cody hate each other in real life and have bangers. So, yeah, that's a good point.
It's all about money.
It is about that money. You're right. These guys don't like each other. Now, here's a good point. We already know that Seth Rollins hates CM Punk, too. When he verbally, on a WWE pre-show thing.
No, it was on Raw.
Well, he did on Raw, but he also did it was the pre-show thing to WrestleMania. Right. It was like I don't know what kind of event. You know how they the red carpet, and someone asked him about CM Punk, and he called him a cancer. He called him a cancer, and I'm like, okay, tell us how you really feel.
I remember those episodes of Raw where he called him out, mentioned him, and I guess Vince berated him backstage. Yep. He was like, he doesn't work here. Why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
But there's times with Rollins, he gets caught up in himself, because with the whole Ricochet and Will Ospreay thing, they basically got heat on. There was Twitter back and forth, and the Seth got heat on him for that too.
Oh my gosh,
heat on himself for that.
Gosh, that's what annoys me. Like, social media can be used for good, but then it can also be used for bad. Sometimes people you gotta be professional because you're in a professional setting, and you're literally especially if you run your own Twitter, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Imagine if Bret Hart had a Twitter in '97.
Oh my God, that'd be some gold right there. That would be some gold right there. Oh my gosh,
with that whole Montreal screw job. Imagine if he had. Oh my God! Imagine if Twitter was around. Just 11 years too early.
Oh Lord. Oh my gosh. But so yeah, so CM Punk, he's got options. I think he's got options what he wants to do. Now obviously, we have that. Now we talk about the Brawl. There really isn't much else with the Brawl. I mean, yeah, it was mostly about Colt Cabana and complaining about all that situation that happened before.
Right.
Now we go back, and we go back to not necessarily the end of his career, but we'll basically kind of like the start of his WWE career, and we're going to jump back and forth because especially his Ring of Honor stuff and how he, all that kind of stuff. Okay. But when he came in WWE, remember, he came in on the WWECW brand, like he, wrestling Stevie Richards.
That was my introduction to him.
Yep,
because I didn't know about Ring of Honor until like 2010 or so. So we're talking like 4 years after the fact.
Oh yeah. So it's just funny because like at that point he they signed him to wrestle or whatnot, and I'm trying to remember because I had some jotted down a couple notes right here. Oh yeah, that was the best part. So apparently he got a tryout match in 2005. And then they signed him. He was still in Ring of Honor. So at that point, you had the Summer of Punk, which was the big summer where he was Ring of Honor champion. Right. He was a massive heel. He was calling out the fact that he was signing with WWE as champion, rumoring that he was going to take the belt with him. He even signed his contract on top of the belt, literally like here's the contract, and he signed it right on top of the belt. In the ring.
And where's Michael Cole? Vintage feel.
I know, right? So stuff like that, and all that happened, and then of course he signs, loses the belt, and he goes to WWE and everything. So then he goes to OVW, and when they still used OVW, of course, and then of course the ECW brand. And I remember when they signed him too, and I remember it was like he was over. Like I remember how over he was. But not right away, but then it was just the word of mouth for him. They let him keep his name. Yeah. That was a big deal, and they even let him go in the Survivor Series that year. He was in with the Reformed DX, and all that like one of the worst Survivor Series, honestly. If you actually looked at it, like Gregory Helms was against them in the match. I was like, it's bad.
I think what kind of got Punk off the ground in ECW was when they was doing that the Legends versus the New Breed. And then Punk was with the New Breed, with him and Elijah Burke and
DJ from Street Fighter.
Oh, and was it
Marcus Corvan, the former Monty,
the vampire dude. I can't think of his name.
Kevin Thorne.
Kevin Thorne was the truth though.
Well, Shelly Martinez was the truth. His girl. There you go. She can't wrestle at all. Because Shelly Martinez has been one of the worst matches of all time. I know somebody out there will know what I'm talking about that. But like he started getting more popular, and then it really was because of the Money in the Bank. It was at that point when Money in the Bank was at WrestleMania. Yeah, he won that. They were just they were hot. You remember that crowd was how hot they were for him, and it was nice. It was pretty cool to see that, and I forgot that this was how this was going to play out. I completely forgot. But he was supposed to face off against Benoit, Mr. Canada Man, for the ECW title at Vengeance, the Vengeance Night of Champions when they renamed it. And then, of course, that didn't happen. Right. So it was Johnny Nitro versus CM Punk, and Nitro went over. So it's like the last person to be in the WWE ring with Canada Man was CM Punk. Because they had their feud, they had just that week of. So that tells you something. Oh, God. And Andre, you're bringing it up. Yeah, we got Andre with Mike Knox getting sweet chin music in the first 5 seconds of Survivor Series. The fact that you just said Mike Knox was in a Survivor Series match just proves my point about how bad this Survivor Series match was. Mike Knox, the only good thing he had going for him is when he had his Kelly as the girlfriend, the exhibitionist. Oh, my God. And then we do have another chat here from Christopher Roseborough. And we
Yeah.
got yeah. I'm just like, I'm like, by the way, I got like Funko Pops as I collect. So I'm just like pointing out, you're like, hey, yeah. And they're just, they never say yeah back. One of these days it will happen and I will.
And then we will run out this room.
I will. But, and then we have Andre again. That was the birth of John Morrison on Tuesday Night Delight.
Yep.
Yes, it was. It really was.
That was funny because before that, like nobody really paid attention to him.
Nope.
Once he became ECW champion, he just like took off up until they turned him face.
Yep.
And
he's just not a face. You know, Morrison just has that gravitas as a character. It's and he was always just so good. That's why I loved Eminem so much. You know, and the Eminem team was great.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's when he became champion, it was like, nope, I'm Morrison now. Boom, it works. Let's go. But you know, going back to Punk there though, so Punk, you know, at that point just gets kind of like sidelined for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then he became ECW champion. You know, and apparently, I didn't know it was this long. By the way, he was champion for 143 days.
Wow.
He was right up here. This. Because look, as you can see, we got our belts here. We got a belt down here for him, but he was ECW champion. At least it was when it was still this belt, not the big silver belt. Which
I think people stop hating on the big silver belt.
I actually used to. I used to own that belt, but then I sold it. I got a pretty penny for it, but I still love this belt. This is my ECW right here, you know. And CM Punk had it for 143 days. Like what the like, and he actually defended it several times. That was when they were like still like they were trying to hold on to the ECW.
Yeah,
they were really trying to hold on to it at that point.
Hardcore,
yeah, and it was like he's gonna lose it. And I mean that was 2007 too. So you know he was still hot with the crowd. He there, and then of course loses the belt. Then, you know, he basically doesn't do much at that point. And then 2008, he goes in the, you know, because he had won the Money in the Bank again, 2 times in a row, which, again, that's a big deal. Who wins something 2 times in a row? Let's look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, Royal Rumble. That's a big deal. Think about that. Like, there's certain things that when it happens twice in a row, the big show, that's a big deal. So, obviously, they were pushing him, but then they weren't. It's like McMahon's like, I like you, but I'm going to give you a little rope, and then that's about all I want to give you. So, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, because at that point, like he really didn't win McMahon over just yet, which was crazy how he was able to become world champion already.
Yeah,
but it wasn't until I don't know if I'm jumping ahead.
No, you're fine.
But it wasn't. I don't think he won McMahon over until the Straight Edge Society.
Oh, actually, that's where we're going to. So, and when he won that world title,
that's kind of when he won me over because, like beforehand, you know, he was kind of like this generic loaf of white bread baby face.
He really was.
You know, and I have friends that were like big fans of him. I'm just like, I don't see this right now. Mm-hmm. You know, when he, you know, won these championships, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. I guess each his own. Yeah. But it wasn't until, like I said, the Straight Edge Society, where I'm like, okay, now I understand. Let's go.
So yeah, and that's kind of where this kind of goes into it. When he won that world title, the big gold world title in his second Money in the Bank cash in, he then had that great feud with Jeff Hardy. Yep. That's where that rolls into that Straight Edge Society thing, and like that was a great feud because you have enough truth in that feud to be like, oh shit, he's hitting some buttons here, you know. And then you had some great matches. You had some, you know, Jeff Hardy actually putting some matches together that were a good match.
Yeah, and
then like you said, then the Straight Edge Society in 2009. And that was where you, like you said, you bring out how he truly feels. In real life, he really is straight edge, you know. Yeah. And doing research in regards to CM Punk, it's mostly from his family life. His dad was bad alcoholic and all this sister stuff like. So yeah, and so he was always like that. And it's like, okay, I get that. I get it's not just making that like imagine if a wrestler that said, I'm gonna do this gimmick, but I'm not straight edge. Like that'd be stupid. And even for a company that is for all intents and purposes here, make believe. Not the wrestling, of course, with the wrestling moves and stuff hurt, but you're playing characters like actors, you know.
Like just don't kayfabe about the completely out the window for certain things.
But yeah, I loved it. I just, you know, you had Doc Gallows coming back again. At this point, this was his second time coming back because he was
the Festus.
Wait, Festus. Wait. Let's go. Yes.
Listen, Festus was great.
Oh my
This
gosh.
kid's in great, man.
Oh,
Make me a man.
oh my gosh. Please. Oh my god. I'm gonna
Listen, listen. I need y'all to respect Festus, okay? Festus was great.
Yeah. Well, let's actually rest in peace for Lance Cade. You know, he's another wrestler. He's gone. Yeah, it's crazy. Remember when he was Garrison Cade? Because he was Lance Cade his whole career, but then they were like, we're gonna call you Garrison. It's like, why?
Yeah, like
we have a Lance Storm. I'm like, who cares? He was barely there anyway. He's almost done with his career.
yeah, it's crazy is because they do these name changes and they act like the fans gonna forget. Like we were literally calling you this for so long. Now you change, like this is making sense. And then it was like no rhyme or reason. Like I can see if he explained himself. Like this is my real name. Just could have just cut some quick promo to explain it and move forward. But they didn't do that.
Oh yeah. So then you also had Serena Deeb there, and what was the tragic part here, in my opinion, in your opinion, I bet too, because I know you like Serena Deeb as well, is they never let her wrestle. She never wrestled.
Nope.
Like, why did you bring her in when a wrestler and who could actually wrestle in the women's division? She didn't wrestle. Like that was my I don't know if there was an issue with the contract or something like that. Maybe I don't know. Then they let her go, and then that was basically it.
Yeah.
Once she let her go, but it was like, why even bring her in the first place? That was a total. That was again another real sharp right turn that just screwed. It was that was screw up. It was just such a waste. Right?
It was crazy. Speaking of Serena, when was the last time she been on AEW? Tell her.
She was at that pay-per-view last year. She want to say it was
because I know it was. I remember last time I saw her was right when Soraya was coming in.
Yes,
around that pretty much that time.
She wrestled a match against Thunder Rosa. I want to say it was at All Out last year.
Okay.
It was either All Out or Double or Nothing last year.
I was saying, I haven't seen her in 6 months?
Nope, she hasn't. I mean, I haven't seen her either. Well, she might be on Dark. We just haven't seen it. You got Dark. Let's pull up the YouTubes and pull up Dark. Oh gosh. All right, for Dark.
Dark is not worth that copyright strike. I swear it's not.
It's not. Oh god. But now with CM Punk's career at that point, he's still selling merch. This guy, he was still doing this, his whole thing. And then they finally said, look, he's over. Let's put him in a feud now with John Cena.
Yeah.
And obviously, and now we will talk about, briefly.
Well, actually before that, he had a brief little tenure with the Nexus.
You're right. So that kind of went. Here's how forgettable Nexus is. I literally forgot the whole thing about. I know he was in the NXT, that brand and stuff with and then the Nexus. I just forgot all about the Nexus. I did. I'll remember the core for God's sake, but I forget about Nexus. Come on. But you're right. So you had Nexus, and then when he was the de facto leader at that point, they were cool. Remember that was a Royal Rumble that had the 40 people, but it was all Nexus and core members, so it didn't matter. It just that made up the extra 10 people that no one cared about.
I remember my favorite moment though was when he was becoming Nexus. He had beat up Wade Barrett. He had Wade Barrett. So he had sat down in a chair and he looked down and saw the armband. He put it on, and I'm just sitting there yes, do it. And then he put it on. And he did slow. I was like, I'm buying me a Nexus shirt. Yeah, I got to give me a Nexus shirt now.
Well, yeah, because at that point, it re-legitimized Nexus as a threat. It just sucked that at that point, then you had to fed him to Cena and then let Cena just destroy him again. Yeah. And it's what was the point of that? You know what I'm saying? Nexus, if you look at it, look, and yes, we are briefly going to talk about Nexus members here for a second, but look at the people you had that actually came out of it.
Ryan.
Are you talking about Mason Ryan? Oh my god! Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about your boy David Otunga, who had 2 matches ever in WWE.
He's known as the guy that was with Kerry Hudson.
Yeah, Jennifer Hudson. Yes, Jennifer Hudson's husband.
Yeah, that's what he was on for.
Yep. And then obviously Husky Harris. There we go. Oh, yep. And actually, underrated wrestlers, Andre. Underrated theme.
Oh yeah,
very true.
I still listen to it every few weeks.
Very true. Good one on that. But so look at Husky Harris, obviously the Fiend. Bray Wyatt. Wade Barrett to a point, yes, but then it was too late. When they finally kind of figure out what they wanted to do with him, or whenever, like when it was King Barrett, it worked. Then it was like, no, we're done with you. It was like, even when he was big, remember when he was like big, but he was like stocky, so he had meat on his bone. But then he kind of got cut, and he still looked good, and still was like the bull hammer, and he was good as a face, or like the guy you liked, and he was good as a heel. And then guess what? They got put in League of Nations, and he died. Because that's what happens. League of Nations kills everything it touches. And you know what? I was just talking to somebody about worst factions, and I always said the X Factor was the worst faction, but no, League of Nations is the worst.
Yeah, because Kevin Owens is like, yeah, I want no for no.
Kevin Owens said no.
I want no parts of that.
Yeah, but so Nexus, yeah, that was good for him to be like that de facto leader. Yeah. And then, of course, we knew it was going to go into this something greater because they were still cheering for him. And then finally, when that kind of got disbanded, then, now you're going with Cena. Now the thing was like, Cena's going for this title. Yeah. And, of course, the promos and stuff were good. And here's the one thing. Before we get into the whole pipe bomb thing, because obviously that's a big deal with the pipe bomb. But here's what I think is more funny, is that the match was on Raw, June 27th of 11, a couple weeks before the pay-per-view and Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Right. So the match was a tables match between R-Truth and John Cena in a non-title match.
Yep.
Because of Punk interfering, R-Truth got a win over John Cena.
Yep.
To me, that's awesome. I don't know. People always forget about that when they remember the pipe. I'm like, I love R-Truth and the fact that he got a win over John Cena. Like, just some people, I don't know, a lot of people can't say they got wins over him.
I wonder if Cena ever won a tables match, because I remember years later, he lost against Sheamus.
I think he's got, he might be 0-2. You know what? Didn't he face Sabu in one? Was that a tables match?
Who knows?
Because Sabu probably threw himself through the table. Now that I think about it,
Sabu turned submission match into a tables match. So, I mean, let's be honest,
right? Oh my gosh! But basically, at the end of that match, obviously everyone knows what happened. They get a mic. He goes up to the ramp and he sits down. Now, obviously, this is something where people are like, "Oh, you just did this off the cuff." No, he was told he would get a mic and he could air out his grievances because his contract was up and he had not re-signed. It was legitimate. He had not re-signed his contract at that point, and they were working on a new contract. So this was all real about that part. And apparently McMahon did give him a mic to air out grievances. So look, everyone, you look at it and you're like, well, why didn't they just turn off the mic and stuff? Like, no, because they wanted some of this to happen. But then he just definitely went way off the more, because again, you give a hot mic to somebody that's already hot.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? I mean, come on. You can't control something like that. And once you do, and they do, at the end of the promo, it is cut off.
Yep.
Because he starts the story.
To be a star.
Yep.
He said Vince McMahon is one of the biggest bullies, and then bam.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That got cut off immediately.
So apparently there's a rumor that Cody Rhodes was like, had a part in that promo too, whatever, helping him out, or whatnot.
So imagine that now. That then he did, and then all the issues or stuff that apparently was happening in AEW.
Yeah.
10 years later, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the promo was interesting because like when he starts talking in this promo, he starts ripping on people like Hogan and Cena, Dwayne. And I love it's like Dwayne's like, I get it's The Rock, cool, it's The Rock. And what's good about all that is they played that into their match they had for the belt later. So and it's like, okay, we're gonna talk about like little cheap things here. Yeah, your top guys taking spots away from deserving people, as we talked about earlier.
Oh, real quick, remember how when Punk was doing like the contract signing with McMahon, and Chris Masters got released like that Saturday, and Punk brought it up on Raw.
Yep.
This man was looking at him like, you asshole.
Well, because exactly. I was like, really? Did that just happen? Oh my gosh. Oh man. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff on there. It was basically talking about how he's the best in the world, but I thought Shane McMahon was the best in the world. talk about some of the worst times right there in my recent history. But Shane McMahon.
It's like every time Shane McMahon shows on TV now, everything just turns to shit.
I know, right? Oh my gosh! Like why?
Everything turns everything turns to Shane.
Turns to Shane. I like it. And then he starts talking about like Paul Heyman, and of course at that point Paul Heyman was his guy and advocated for him not getting fired.
Yeah.
Like apparently at one point McMahon wanted him fired earlier, and Heyman said no. He refused to do it because he was running SmackDown and whatnot. Now, man, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall there on that fight right there about keeping him. I mean, Paul Heyman would have definitely not sugarcoated it. He would have been like, look, he's one of your most popular wrestlers. Why would you get rid of this guy?
Future star.
Yeah. So, and they name drops the fact that, look what happened when he had Brock Lesnar. At that point, Lesnar had already been gone.
Yep.
He didn't come back for 2 years before that until that happened. So it was like hearing that again was like, to me, like, oh, we got talking about Lesnar now. He's doing UFC right now. And
because remember, so they were talking about I remember it was like 2009, and they were doing like a SmackDown celebration. And sorry, my nose is just nose here is twitching. But they were talking about they were showing like the great moments. They were talking about like when they showed Brock Lesnar's suplex Big Show break the ring, and Punk was like, yeah, you see how Big Show got slammed? And then Punk was on the mic. He was like, yeah, I'm not supposed to know who the other guy was, but at that time, Brock Lesnar was gone, so they didn't want to, mention him on TV.
Yep, they didn't want to mention him. And that was actually a good point. Even during that promo, he starts trashing the fact that he's not even in the opening promo. CM Punk wasn't in the opening promo. He wasn't in
the booklet.
He wasn't in anything. So he's ripping on the fact that, any of the merchandise that people are buying doesn't even have him on it. He calls out the fans cheering for him, saying, you're cheering for me wearing stuff for everybody else. So you're part of the problem here.
He said, you're just as much as part of the reason why I'm leaving.
And again, this is all legitimate that he did not have a contract. It was a big deal. So, and everyone's like, well, he's got this match. He's got this match against John Cena with 2 weeks later at Money in the Bank. And even during he keeps going on about the brass rings that Vincent Kennedy, was he keeps trying. I grabbed every one of these brass rings that he's always talking about and all this stuff, and it was just it was nuts. He's still trashing Dwayne again. He was just going after him. But the other thing rang true because it's being brought up more and more now with wrestlers is that he talked about how all this stuff is annoying. These fans are buying crap that aren't mine, not my stuff, but then harassing me at 5:00 in the morning at the airport. And it's sitting here going, and now you're seeing that more now with all these people. And I'm sorry, but if you're a fan that does that, you're a terrible person. Yeah. You're a terrible person. Like two things. If you're gonna don't harass them when they're traveling like that, the only time that would be acceptable, maybe, is if they're just chilling and there's other people maybe sitting there and they're not racing. If you see them running or power walking through the airport, that means they got places to go. Yeah, they're done with the show. They want to go rest. They got a plane to catch. And don't get them when they're eating. If you're at a restaurant, you see them, don't you dare go up to them.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Come on. I'm not eating my food. If someone bothers me for a second, I'm not happy. Okay, I'm not no celebrity.
What's the name of the Kroger's on 4th Street, George Bell.
George Bell, yeah.
And I kept looking at the Lions player, y'all. I kept looking at him, I'm like, that dude's playing. So it was about the deli section. I walked over to him and said, how you doing? He said, what's up? I said, hey, listen, man, I'm a big fan. He's like, appreciate it. And I was like, all right, I'll let you go. And I just went on my business.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how, because they've got something to do.
Yeah, because they're at the end of the day, they're people too and whatnot. So,
exactly. And that's so when he brought that up, I was like, that kind of rang true. Like, oh man, I hate when people do that. And then of course he brought up the fact he was bringing up hey, maybe I'll just leave. Because of my contract stuff, I'll go wrestle for New Japan Pro Wrestling or go back to Ring of Honor. He's name dropping these companies.
Other promotions that would never be talked about on WWE program.
Never. Oh yeah, the fact that only recently they brought up New Japan Pro Wrestling and whatnot was like Michael Cole and stuff because it's the Triple H era now. It's the only reason why that was even brought up. But it's just. Oh, and then of course when he says hi to Colt Cabana, at that time they were still friends. It was like right at the end of their friendship.
Yeah.
You know, and I might not like CM Punk, but I hate Colt Cabana. I think that guy is the most overrated wrestler I've ever seen in my entire life.
You never listen to his podcast?
Oh, I've listened to him too. I think he's overrated a little bit on his podcast as well.
Okay.
I think so. I think Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast could give him a run for his money. I'm just saying.
Listen, give us Dolph Ziggler. We'll show you how it's done.
Oh yeah, there you go. I want heel Ziggler. Come on, buddy. Let's say, come on. We can make this work. So I'll make you a heel Ziggler belt. There you go.
There you go.
I'll put Brazzers side plates because there's one thing Ziggler likes is he likes his mattress actresses. So, but yeah, you know, and then basically one of the other things he says before at the end, it's like he's calling out the hierarchy of WWE. Oh, it's sad but true, but it won't get better until Vince is dead. Like he flat out says this and says, "Oh, it won't matter," because then you got yes men. Like, I think he just said F and yes man, because I'm pretty sure it was bleeped out. And then Laurinaitis, and then the idiotic daughter and doofus son-in-law.
Yep.
And I'm just
he said his being-headed wife and his doofus son. No, I'm sorry, he said being-headed daughter and doofus son-in-law.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
I remember that.
So it was like, and then of course, at the end, as we just talked about, he says, "Oh, I've got a story for you about McMahon about how he bullied
to be a star,
and then immediately that mic got cut out.
Yep.
It was over, and basically that was the pipe bomb, and in a nutshell. And obviously, it blew up the wrestling world because anything crazy like that happening is kind of unheard of in wrestling. But what it absolutely did was hype up that match to like 11-fold, because the match was in Chicago, of course. That made, I mean, that crowd was so hot. I mean, I will say right now, because it's a bigger venue, I think going back to a one night stand, that crowd was hot, but it's a smaller crowd. So of course, but that crowd there at United Center was insane, man. They were insane, and this promo helped. Then everything, you know, the match happens, and by the way, that match also got a 5-star from Meltzer. First time a WWE match in 7 years had got one.
Good job, Dave, you coward.
I know. Yeah, exactly. So, and I love though the ending was great, right? So the ending happens. You got McMahon outside at the trying to call Del Rio out to cash in. He's trying to.
Also, you have this dude you never really heard of, Laurinaitis.
Yep.
Coming out, you're like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yep.
Like this is kind of, you know.
Oh, you're saying it's before people power.
Before people power.
God, I hate him so much while he's gone.
You know, with Laurinaitis, yeah, he was annoying while he was here, but I learned to appreciate him more now.
Yeah.
Like, if he came back, oh, it would be great.
But so at that point, then you have the reign of CM Punk, as you know, and this is one of my homemade belts, my cardboard spinner belts. You know, I'm gonna
step off for about 1 minute.
Oh, no problem. But it's one of the spinner belt, you know, basically here. But so basically at that point, you have him being champion, leaving, Del Rio being called out, saying to try to cash in. He leaves, walks out with the belt. And I'm telling you that if they had the balls, they could have recreated the Summer of Punk. They did in Ring of Honor when he had the belt and still was leaving to go to WWE. He still didn't have a contract at that point. And then 2 weeks later, he shows up. Obviously, at that point, he now had a contract. And it was just sad. It was just, to me, it was sad that at that point, he could have walked, he could have stayed out for, like, gosh, could you even imagine, like, if he was out for like a month, right? If he was out for a month or so, and people would be losing their minds. And if social media was as big as it was now then, he could have been, like, taking the belt wherever, not specifically to a different company, but say, he goes to down Florida and he's in the same city as like AEW, or same city as like a New Japan or Impact is taping. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have been great TV and people would have tuned in. They would have tuned in, but they didn't. They didn't do that. You know, they decided not to do that. I'm just reiterating, Sauce, that once he walked out with that belt, he could have been gone for like a month. He could have been gone for a while.
Yep.
And if social media was bigger, he could have been like taking shots just similar to that feud with Cargill and Nyla Rose, where she had the belt. She was just like, I have the belt here. He could have went to like a venue, or not venue, but a place that a competitor was there, and be like, hey, real champion here. Cena's not your real champion.
Oh, you talking about like how Matt Hardy and Nero used to do?
Yeah.
They used to go to random promotions.
Yeah. And
like trying to win gold.
Yeah. And so it would have been great, but they didn't have the balls to do it. So 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, he's back.
Which is very anticlimactic.
Well, it was just so hot. The crowds were in there. People were watching wrestling again. I remember I had stopped watching for a little bit, and that was piqued my interest, of course. But then, they just let him lose. Yeah, they let him lose the belt. And they haven't. Kevin Nash. Remember, Kevin Nash came back and the stupid ass feud. It didn't make any sense. No sense. Like Kevin Nash, he takes 4 steps and he's like, my quad.
So we live downriver, and if you listen closely, you can probably hear his quad turn right
now. Because Kevin Nash obviously from Metro Detroit area. So we always, it was like wrestlers. Yes, we got Rhino. We got Kevin Nash,
RVD
in Battle Creek. There's a few. But he wins that belt back, though. He wins it back at Survivor Series. And that's where he had his big run for, like, what was it? 334 or 434 days? I always forget that.
But I want to say it was, I know it was well over a year, so it was almost 400 days, I think.
434 then.
Yeah.
So, 434 days he holds the belt, has many defenses. And when I mean many, I mean many more. And I want to bring that up because a lot of people love bringing that up, especially with Roman Reigns, and how many times he barely defended it. Do you know he has not even defended it 30 times in the 1,000-day reign?
Oh, yeah.
Not even 30.
No.
CM Punk did that like in like 2 months. He did that. So,
I remember he did that one promo. He said, "Hell, if I wrestled in Bruno Sammartino days, I would have had this belt for like 30 years."
Yeah. So, he has the spinner belt, and again, I'm not a fan of the spinner belt, but certain people it looked good on, and it did look good on him when he was the champion.
I think it was a white shirt they used to wear.
Yeah.
So it kind of like it worked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure on that. But I'll tell you right now, going back to his promo though about Dwayne, and then this is where McMahon's probably like, "God damn, I got an idea. We're getting the Rock story going to come back. So now let's put him in a feud with you." And he's the champion. It doesn't make any sense. Like, here's the thing. I guarantee The Rock didn't even want to win that belt.
No.
He didn't want that belt back. That rematch with Cena was a straight rematch, just like his first match was just for no belt, just for the pride.
Yeah.
But no, he had to be champion. He had to be champion just so Cena could be champion.
And what they really could have did was they could have just turned it into a triple threat match.
And that was what apparently Paul Heyman and other people apparently were pushing for. He was pushing for it. Like Paul Heyman was pushing for it, to make that a triple threat match.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. So guess what happens? CM Punk gets fed to The Undertaker. However, I say get fed, but it was a pretty good match though.
Yeah,
it was a pretty good. Even Triple H was on record saying that match should have been main event of that.
Because the highlights of that Mania was him versus Taker and Triple H versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and that match was it wasn't to me that good. And to me, the Triple H shouldn't have went over. I'm sorry.
No.
I know people don't like Lesnar for whatever, but no, realistically, Lesnar shouldn't have.
Well, that was the way of making him pay his dues.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely what that was. That was like, and you're gonna lose now.
Yeah,
because we didn't like what you did when you left in 04.
Yeah, sorry. Basically, you pissed on everybody. Basically, you pissed on us, pissed on the fans, pissed on everybody at that WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
If you would just went ahead and did your business with Goldberg at the time, probably would have been a little bit different.
Oh yeah. So it's like he has that match. He doesn't get a triple threat match, and then has the Undertaker match. Pretty good match. WWE title, and at this point, he knows it's done. He knows it's donezo. He's not going to get this belt again. So, and pretty much at that point, it was done. It was like 14 was his last time.
Yeah.
His last match was in 14, and then he said to McMahon like
January 14, something like that.
And he looked. And if you remember, the Rumble. That's what it was. And he just looked so. Like the last few months, he just looked so just not wanting to be there because he knew he was done. He knew he was leaving. But what's funny is people talk about this is that if he was still if he was still better with McMahon and wanted to be there and stayed with him for another year, then we probably would have never got Daniel Bryan. Yes movement. We never would have got the yes movement in a sense of how his meteoric rise. We wouldn't have, because he would have been there, and there would have been no spot there for him.
And it probably would have been Punk versus Shield, all the matches and stuff, and Punk probably would have made invented WrestleMania 30.
Yep, I could have seen that. I absolutely could have seen that,
because it probably would have been Punk versus Orton. Punk. Well, because they threw Batista in there, so it probably would have been Punk versus Batista. So it probably would have still been a triple threat match versus Punk, Batista, and Orton.
Batista.
So at that point,
and it's just like it's sad, and then Punk said, "Okay, I'm done, so." It's like, okay, that's fine. Bye, you're gone. Now I want to go do UFC. Oh Lord! And anytime a wrestler does UFC, it really depends. When Lesnar did it, he's a strong guy. It made sense for him to do it. He's got small legs. He knows that too. That's why. But he did good. He did pretty good in UFC. Became champion. He had some good fights. But CM Punk, the second when I heard he was going to do it, it's like, oh, are you serious? His body looks like you can just like punch through it like paper mache. Like he just didn't like. And his first fight, I remember he was all mouthing off the people like, I want to fight this guy. And then you got a guy, Mickey Gall, I believe what his name was. Yeah. Okay. He was like on their show. They had a reality show, the Fighter Ultimate Fighter, whatever it's called. And there was a guy from that show. So, and he was just green as hell. And he said, I'll fight you. And I remember watching that. In the fight at the tap room, CM Punk using his CM Punk name at the UFC. He fought him, and with 27 seconds, he was down, tapped out. The CM Punk was tapped. So it was like, okay, all right, well, maybe his second match will be better. Nope, same thing, and then he retires. 2 matches in the UFC.
Technically, the second match, the person failed a drug with a test.
So no contest.
So basically, Punk is 0-1
and 1. Yep. There you go. You're right. That's it. That actually happened with Lesnar too. When he fought at UFC 200, the same thing happened there too. Yeah, they do that after the fact. Yeah. No decision or whatever, but still no wins. And then he retired, thankfully, so he doesn't get hurt. And then he didn't do much. He didn't do anything at that point. And then of course, the rumblings and everything about CM Punk coming to AEW because of the TK money. Yeah. It's like. To this day, I'm still just so I get it from a business standpoint. Oh, yeah. I completely understand
He's a draw.
Why you want to bring this guy in. He's a draw, especially because you do all these shows in Chicago. The majority of your shows are in Chicago.
Listen, y'all, we live in Michigan. They have had like 15 shows in Chicago. Hell, they've done like 6 shows in Cincinnati, and we just now got 2. We just got the second one like maybe 3 weeks ago.
Fine, yeah. We deserve more shows. Michigan, that's why huge wrestling.
That's why Tony Khan bring more shows to Detroit. You coward.
Let's go. Here. I'm getting you eyes. Let's go. That's all you have to do is talk down on him and he'll cower in the corner. Per the usual.
Yep.
I'll just
next time we'll have like a media scrum.
That's what I'm gonna say. I'll scare him by saying media scrum. Well. Oh no! Yep. Don't say that. Donuts. Box of donuts. Open it up. It's like PTSD to him. It really is. But
good old Tony.
Oh my gosh. So obviously they bring him in. They bring Punk in, and big fanfare, all this stuff. And like I said, he had a media scrum at the Rampage right before he showed up, and he still talked kind of like with TK, and TK just was sitting there like a little child. Like, he didn't look like an owner of a company. He just looked like some guy that he's found and standing next to him. Yeah. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, first off, do you even need to be here? Like, you didn't even be here. It's not like McMahon's sitting there. Yeah, Triple H has done some of these, conferences or whatever.
Right.
But it's like, you don't need to be there for this. You can announce it and then let the wrestlers take over doing their talking. And he even talked about, being there and whatnot, but he was still pretty scathing in certain aspects about wrestling in like how he's happy to be there, and when he walked out and left Ring of Honor,
Right.
he was crying. Now he's crying again, being back. Like it was. And I'll tell you something. So he has this match, right? His opening match with Darby Allin. So Darby Allin was his first match back, and I thought. Well, first off, here's how I looked at it. They gave him Darby Allin because one, Darby is already hot with the fans, so they're gonna like him, and two, like they wanted to see if he could still go. Yeah. Honestly, they weren't going to put him up against a bigger heavyweight guy in his range, like his weight range, because they wanted to see if he could actually still go with the young kid, and he did. I mean, the match was good. I remember people were.
You could tell it was his first match, right?
Oh yeah, he was wearing the pants because his and mind you, whenever I talk about wrestlers' physique, yeah, I know I'm a big boy, whatever. I'm not going to call him out. I'm saying that sometimes a wrestler, if you're coming back, you should maybe work on it, getting more in shape before you come back.
Right.
And to be fair there too, CM Punk never had the real super defined body. No. He kind of has like the Adam Cole body, where Adam Cole kind of looks like there's no defined anything. He's got the muscle, but there's nothing defined. He's just got a lot of muscle. And the match happens. He wins, of course, because it really the 0.0% chance he was going to lose.
Right.
And goes on from there. Now, if I remember correctly, after that was when Eddie Kingston had his feud.
I believe so.
Yeah, because that was when I was looking through the stuff. And of course, we talked about earlier. The best part about any of these feuds he had was the promos he would have. And Eddie Kingston was great. Mad King. I'm always about him. And then, of course, MJF.
Yep.
And then he had just random matches here and there. He fought what's his face from FTR in a match on, I think, a Dynamite.
Yeah.
And a pretty good match, but it was just super random, It's almost to the point, like, it's hard to put this guy in matches. Like, if you'll see Jericho wrestle, maybe not every Dynamite, but he'll wrestle, like, 2 Dynamites a month, at least.
Yeah.
And the pay-per-views. But Punk wasn't even doing that when he came back. So it's like, okay.
He'll come out and talk for maybe 10 minutes.
And talk.
And it was just get to a certain point. It's like, okay, Phil, can you please wrestle? Like, we understand you're back. Yeah, we get it. But can you please just wrestle?
That's best is if anybody's ever watched any of the great Botchamania videos by Mafu or whatever, he has the too much talking segments. And that's all. I wish I could just hit the button every time he runs over like at least 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes of talk. Like, okay, we get it. Let's go. And then of course we talked about earlier is Adam Page, his feud there, because him calling out Adam Page basically because, and he wasn't wrong, but then Adam Page calling him out. It's just so much back and forth, and sometimes CM Punk comes off hypocritical when this is a guy that sued WWE and their doctors because of how they were not treated well or forced to work, hurt, and then they won the case and the fight for the workers, but yet then wasn't doing the same in the AEW while not treating the people the same, and it all obviously culminated into a lot of back and forth fighting. The Adam Page being friends with the EVPs, the Elite. So then you knew that it was just boiling to that point, and it just blew up. It blew up, and it couldn't wait too. It had to happen right after the media, like during the media scrum. It had to happen. Like it couldn't air out anything else. It just, it wasn't a chair got thrown or something. Something got thrown. Was there an animal? Was there a dog involved or something? Yeah, something like what? Like it just kept changing.
Once again, Doc. 10 years from now, we're going to get the Dark Side of the Ring episode about this, and I can't wait.
I know.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be
he say, she say, and then it's going to be like calling each other B words and calling each other the P word, and then it's going to be great. They're going to make it, I'm telling you, they're going to make this a 2-hour thing like they did Canada, man.
Oh, my gosh. Watch. Oh, gosh. Yes. Oh, and that new season of Dark Side Ring is currently airing right now.
Yeah, I haven't watched last week's yet.
Yep.
I'm working on it.
It is currently airing now, so... not the sponsor, but we'd like to be one. That'd be nice. Anything wrestling wise, I'll always push because even if it's something that's ridiculous like Ready to Rumble, which by the way is awesome. I don't care what anybody says, or a great movie like The Wrestler.
Oh yeah, definitely. definitely what I call it, masterpiece.
Yeah. Oh, great.
You hear about the lie that Hulk Hogan said that he was supposed to be
Well, you know what's funny is he said that, and that's like, nah, you're just full of shit. Do you know who actually was a front runner for that role? Nicolas Cage. No joke.
Oh my god, I wish we got that instead.
Like,
I really do.
Like I watched the movie, and you're like, you see Mickey Rourke, and you're like, yeah, awesome. He's kind of like that mix between superstar Billy Graham, or I guess you could say a couple of Ultimate Warrior, Stan Stasiak and stuff. But Nicolas Cage doing it, like I can't even I can't wrap my head around it. But apparently he was the front runner, and then that didn't happen. So I'm kind of happy. I do like Nicolas Cage, but no, I think Mickey Rourke.
I kind of wish we had the Nicolas Cage version.
Yeah, there's a different world, the alternate reality world that has him in the movie.
It's like what's that? He's supposed to be the front runner for Forrest Gump, Bill Murray.
Yep, that could have worked. Like Tom Hanks did good, but I think
Ice Cube was supposed to be Bubba.
Oh my gosh. Yep. I could totally have seen that actually because he was getting a lot of work after the popularity of Friday and stuff. Yeah. But so going back to Punk and Punk apparently was in some movie. He filmed some movie too, and before he came to AEW. I can't remember what it was, but I saw a clip of it. Some B I know, not a B, like a D F ranked movie or something.
Straight to Family Dollar.
Family $1.50. Is that what it's called now? $1.50. $3.50. It'll cost $3.50 for that movie. But, yeah, it's like so with CM Punk. I guess I referenced this as the rise, the fall, the brawl of him. I didn't because the title I really kind of want to do I really want to do the rise, the fall, the brawl, and the rise again? Question mark. Question mark. I had to. Yeah, come on.
I wish I would have put that the rise, the fall, and the brawl.
Yeah. Oh, it was okay. We still have it in the title, but I did kind of want to do the rise possibly again because anything can happen with him coming back now, as long as everyone plays nice and is what him and anybody involved. Like you said, if he's on Collision, he's going to definitely show up on Dynamite. How quickly are we going to see them in a program together with the EVPs, the Elite, or anything like that? Maybe not for a while. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're like, we don't want to work with you right now. We will if we have to, but but you still have to work together. You're in the same company. You still got to work together. And TK, that is your job to make that happen. Like you can't just let them be like, I'm not going to work with them and walk away. It's like, no, that's not going to work. If you have the Jaguars, right? Daddy owns the Jaguars or whatever. It's like a lot of teams have players that don't like each other, but guess what? They go out there and play. Yeah. There's very few players that are like uncoachable. Like. What's this?
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, Des Bryant. These guys are, in my opinion, uncoachable. They can't. They go off on their own and do their own stuff. But as a whole, a team has to work together. So you have your team, you have your locker room. They got to work together, and I feel like that's where WWE. You'd never hear about massive issues internally, but AEW. It's like that's all you hear. Oh, yeah. Oh, I hate this guy. These guys. There's massive heat between these guys. It's like what?
Say what you want about WWE, but I mean, and their micromanagement ways of micromanagement. But there's a reason why they are the way they are.
Yeah. So as with this show coming up on looks like it'll be next. And of course the AEW champion.
All right, Jordan. And this when Phil eventually wins.
When he wins it. So what's crazy is if he wins this, he'll be a 3-time champion. Because he won the belt and All Out. So he won it. He'd be a 3-time champion. That's insane. I mean, Moxley's already a 3-time champion, but that was on them. They had to do that unification title thing because when he held on to the belt, which was a big problem I had too. He was hurt, and then he was still champion. Yeah. So then they're like, well, we're gonna make Moxley's gonna be champion. I'm like, oh, one thing I love, interim champions.
This is not UFC.
TK is not UFC. So that was annoying by itself. But yeah, I think though Samoa Joe, right there, right off the bat, Samoa Joe if they can get their act together, I think him and Kenny Omega could put a good match together. I believe so. I would like to see it, but if that's not going to happen, then you got Samoa Joe. Then you also got, let's see, just a couple.
Some people you could have Ricky Starks.
I'm trying to not put MJF in there because he's champion.
No, like you could do like I say, you could do Ricky Starks, maybe a Hobbs. You can do maybe Bunny or the Butcher 102 just as like a filler match.
You could also have, bring Vikingo back in. You want him to, you can fight him. That'd be kind of a cool thing to see.
No, Vikingo is too advanced for Punk at this point.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think
he's too no.
He flip out the Robinson and CM Punk's like, whoa, wait a minute, whoa, I don't know what's going on.
I'm just trying to think of some decent guys. I mean, sure, you can throw him back in a few with Adam Page. I mean, Adam Page ain't be doing nothing around anyway.
What do you think they put him back with the Elite? They knew, like, okay, your singles push is done. You were done right now, Adam Page, for now. So
I can see them actually before they do the Kenny. I can see Punk versus Claudio for the Ring of Honor.
There we go. There we go. I like that. Yep. Excuse me. Because they definitely, if they want those ratings to go up on that Ring of Honor, like taping, instead of having an episode that had 15 matches on it, apparently. What the hell is that about? And you definitely have him come out and say, I'm going to fight for the belt, whether it's on the taping or most likely on Collision. They'll have it as opposed to the actual taping. But he would come out on the taping to challenge for it, and it would be at Collision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and because it would be, there's a nice bump right there for it. Claudio, that'd be a good match.
Yeah.
I'd be all for that for sure. And they do have their next show, the Ring of Honor show. I believe that's the Death Before Dishonor.
Okay.
I believe it's what their next show. I can't remember the date on it. Sometime in July, I want
Uh-huh.
to say. So there's options there too. But he's got options. And then obviously after all that's exhausted, hopefully they then go into the MJF built up feud. And hopefully they do a good job with it. But
and what I would do, so if you're gonna have him go against MJF, have MJF retain, go over.
Oh, he's got it. He has to go over. There's just no question. Because now I'm going to be waiting to see CM Punk put over people. If he's here, he better be here to help put over the younger talent. And don't be a hypocrite like like in all your past talks. Don't be a hypocrite about not putting people over.
Yep.
So let's wait and see if he'll do what he said.
Because he likes to complain about part-timers.
Part-timers
not putting the people over, but I mean AEW, he was down there a part-timer himself.
Oh yeah, he was definitely part-timer.
I think he down there wrestled like one match like every month, a month and a half, something like that.
Yeah, that's definitely some part-time work right there. But that's why hopefully he does put over people, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Hell, even if he like whoever he's facing, they don't even have to beat him clean. They could they could get like a dirty finish or whatnot, count on something, just something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But I'll tell you right now, and this kind of segues into what I was going to talk about for next week, but with AEW's next show that I'll be getting, the Forbidden Door show, which, by the way, I was mad about last year when we talked about it. And we didn't talk about it here because we weren't doing it then. Yeah. But when we were talking personally, I was mad because they did this so quickly, and you didn't have like your top guys ready to fight. Omega couldn't fight because he was hurt, and Okada wasn't there, whatever. But now you got 2 matches signed,
2 bangers
already. You got the rematch of Ospreay versus Omega for the United States title, and you have Brian Danielson versus Okada. I mean, look at that. So right there, you're talking about, I just can't wait to see what else is going to be done. Now, with that being said, next week, what I wanted to do is I was talking to you, Sauce, is that I'm going to ask you guys, whoever's watching and whatnot, and then we'll probably talk then too, when I talk to some people outside of this, and get their 6-match Dream Forbidden Door card.
Okay.
Now,
so you giving me some homework?
Yep, giving you some homework. Okay. So basically, simple rules. They have to be alive. The wrestlers have to be alive. So it's not dream matches like.
I can't be like the Saudis and actually Yokozuna.
You can't be like the Saudis and ask for Yokozuna.
Okay.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
So no, it has to be they have to be alive, and they can come from any company, WWE, New Japan. It doesn't have to just be AEW. It can be Impact. It could be anything like that. And just to make sure you're not doing so many, I'd say 6 matches. Six matches.
6 is good.
And just
that's like 3 hours.
Yep, and that's your kind of dream scenarios, matches, types, whatever you want to do, and couple come because by that time we might have another couple matches announced, and we'll just briefly go over that. But it's more so about the idea of the Forbidden Door and how it could be utilized in wrestling in a good way.
Okay.
So yeah, see, a little homework, but it's always good homework when we're talking about wrestling. But now with that all being said, as we always do every week, we do always have the heat of the week. And Sauce being gone like half the week last week. I mean, he was gone. He was gone for a while, but he still saw something happened. So I know. So what do you got?
Seth Rollins.
Yes. And so all I care about is with Logan Paul. Bye bye, bitch.
So I would say Seth Rollins is definitely my heat of the week. He is the first. I would say not the first, but he's basically picking up the legacy of the Big Gold.
Yeah,
picking up where he left off, and I think he was the right person. I mean, to be honest with you, him or AJ Styles, either one would have been a good choice.
Yep.
But Rollins, he's worked his butt off. And putting people over.
Yep.
So as the new world heavyweight champion, so he's definitely my heat of the week.
There we go. All right, I like it.
Like for me, so with this championship, just give me. I mean, we probably might do some long reigns. Give me 5 months. Just give me 5 months, and I'm good.
I'm fine with that. For me, without just going for Seth, it's because, obviously Seth's great. I'm going to go with Gunther because Gunther right now, he just had a great match with Kevin Owens yesterday on Raw, and it really just solidified the fact that he's beating Honky Tonk Man's record.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's about September is when they said it would be when he would beat his record. I can't remember the exact date, but sometime in September.
I mean, we're already in June, so we got 3 months.
Yep. And I'm telling you, I'm all for it. I think it's he deserves it. They've defended the belt in great matches and he's elevated the belt and then he's elevated himself. So I'm all for it. And trust me, I love Kevin Owens, but I think that this is for the greater good. And he would say it himself. It would be for the greater good to make sure that this belt gets pushed more. And it was good too, because it's still pushing the feud he's going to have with Matt Riddle and the Imperium, having with him and Sammy and them fighting and stuff. It's pretty. There's good TV. There's some good TV here. So, and speaking on a small thing too about the wrestling belt, we were talking about the belt, the good belt, the good new belt. Let's be very clear on that. So Seth Rollins, Raw, the world title, great. Yeah, undisputed belt. Goddamn garbage, hot garbage. You know what? No. Like cold as ice garbage. No.
Are you saying this is like Shockmaster level of?
It's way worse than Shockmaster.
Way worse than Shockmaster
I can't even
level of rating for this belt.
Nah, it's
me personally. I think it's okay. Is it great? No, but I think it's all right. But I just felt like if you did an update for the World Heavyweight title, you could just did an update for the WWE title as well.
Yeah, and that was my thing. Like, if you look at the belt, my biggest problem I have with it is one. Not even necessarily all the gold. My problem is, if you look at the belt, we'll take one of these belts right here. Mm-hmm. So they have the silver. It's like gold, and then silver.
Yeah.
Then there's clear crystals on them. What they did is it's the silver and then black crystals on it, which look stupid. What they should have did is do the silver black, and then the crystals would be clear. So what you see is silver. So then those silver ones would pop against the black background of the W.
Yeah. Because
you already have all the gold in the back part of the belt. Like, it doesn't make sense to me why the black jewels just look terrible. They don't look like the reason why everyone likes these. Like, these are fake. Obviously, these are fake jewels, but they still look shiny. The real jewels on the belt look really shiny. The black ones look dull because they're black jewels.
Do you want to pull it up for the people real quick?
No, I don't want to pull it up right now. I'm sorry, because it's just irritating to see look at. So, but it's one of those things. Like, here's the funny thing. I have to say this before we, kind of wrap it up. Is that when the belt was given to Reigns, he looked at it. His face looked pissed. He looked up. Like, he didn't look happy. He looked like
he just looked at it. And was like, okay,
yeah. He looked at it like, oh gosh. So I really hope, like, if that was the first time he saw it, man, you didn't sell it well. That you like.
I do think that they'll probably do some type of little update to it, because remember, so like the belt that the Rock got when they got rid of the Sprinter belt, it wasn't too long after they did a quick update, and then you basically got this one.
Yep.
So it wasn't like the gap wasn't really that far off. So
yeah, so that was my big pet peeve, and it was a black strap, and the side plates were the same. But I mean, he gets his own side plates. I get that, but it's like, why don't you go with an old gold strap? Go with old gold dust back in the day when he had the Intercontinental title. Dude, why not? Before they did that, the Snoop Dogg replica belt had a gold strap that actually looked kind of cool if you see it. It did.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice looking belt.
So I already know, me in the belt community, people are already talking very negatively, but have ideas to make it look better. And I guarantee I'm going to see someone make it with a gold strap belt, and it probably will look much better. I don't know. But the one thing I did want to mention is, apparently the women's titles are going to get a similar thing done, where the Raw women's title is going to be a smaller version of what Seth Rollins got on a white strap.
Huh. That's kind of dope.
And they're going to be the World Women's Championship and the WWE Women's Championship.
I like that.
Well, I do. Well, it has to be the women's. Well, it needs to be the Women's World Championship.
Yeah.
It sounds better than World Women's Championship.
Yeah, World Women's sounds weird.
But then WWE Women's Championship. To me, that's the best way to get rid of the whole Raw. Because right now, your champions are still swap shows. It'd be the best way to fix that problem.
Yep.
And then go from there.
Yep. And
guess what? I think I'm going to solve my problem. The women are going to have the all gold strap. Bank it. Think about it. The women will have the all gold strap.
I mean,
Reigns doesn't.
They had the white straps for a while.
They did. So either they have white or they have a gold strap.
Yeah.
Hey, I come up with these ideas. I don't know if you do it. Yep. We're watching you. But you know what? It's a great time here. Again, I got Sauce with me live in person.
I'm back.
And he's back. Hopefully he gets better. He'll be better. He'll be better in a few days, a week or so, a week and a half. I hate anything with my teeth pain, man. I do. If you're in pain, please take some medication, man. Because I
took a time off. I got here.
Okay, good. But we love all you guys, chatting with us. It's always good. And we are also doing a thing where we're going to have all the stuff put up for our social medias and everything. But we did make a new Facebook event, like a business page for like the podcast. Mm-hmm. And everything's going to be kind of linked on there. So basically, on anything like Twitter or on Instagram or on there, if you have any ideas, because what we did have a request from somebody that wanted us to review the King of the Ring 96. And I said, you know what? I've got an idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to start filming, not live films, but we're going to do like recordings that then will be uploaded to the channel, where we're going to review a wrestling pay-per-view, but we're going to review it in the like we had never watched anything after that. Like we were new to that show.
Okay.
So we're going to watch the King of the Ring 96, and we're going to watch it again without knowing anything that happened after that. Like we're going to watch it like for the first time.
Okay.
In that perspective, as much as we can. If it slips out, not a bit. And I thought that'd be a fun way to kind of review a show, and go from there. 20 minutes, 30 minutes long, and we'll record them for you guys and we'll post them. So if you guys have any ideas for shows, guess what? If they're bad shows, which I already know, some people are going to be like, WCW this, Impact this. We're all on it. We'll do the worst.
I'm diggity down the clown.
But so we're going to start doing that, and it'll be kind of fun. But with that all being said, I think we are pretty good today. Mr. Brooks have more perspective on him. After doing more research, I do appreciate him a little more. but still irritates me a lot. So
All I'm saying, Mr. Brooks, just at least give it like 8 months before you start to become a unbearable asshole again.
oh yeah, and please don't jump in the crowd and break your foot again. Please don't do that, like because you've been paid this whole time by not working, so it's like you don't have to do anything,
right?
But yeah, please don't. Just give us at least 8 months.
Yeah, just give us 8 months without you throwing hissy fits or whatever.
Oh my gosh!
The world of wrestling is bigger than you, and that's what you need. That's what he needs to remember.
Boom! I like it. But with all that being said, I'm Dr. Love, and of course, right here, flesh in the person, Sauce Bronson. And you know what? We're gonna catch you next week. Tune in for it.
And once again, guys, at the end of the day, y'all be happy, be healthy, but most importantly, be good.